Okay, let's unpack this. You know that moment, that pure frustration when your computer just freezes up?
Oh, yeah.
That spinning wheel? Or maybe it's just acting
Okay.
weird. Programs slow, weird messages.
Uh-huh. We've definitely all been there,
Yeah.
trying to coax a machine back to life.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're tackling something that might be behind those digital headaches, computer viruses.
And interestingly, our source isn't some dense tech manual.
No, it's actually a conversation from a YouTube channel, English Podcast Zone. They were talking about language for computer problems.
Right. Which sounds maybe a bit odd, but stick with us.
Yeah, because even a language resource can give some, surprisingly useful insights into what these things are and what we can actually do.
So our mission today is basically to pull out the key info about viruses from that conversation.
Yep, give you the practical stuff without, like, drowning you in technical jargon.
It's pretty fascinating how even that kind of basic conversation touches on something so, well, fundamental now.
To-
So the video starts off establishing a core definition. A computer virus. It's a program designed specifically to harm or damage your computer.
Okay, harm or damage, that's key.
Yeah, and they make a point to distinguish that from just a computer freezing.
Right, which is more like it just stops working, gets stuck.
Exactly, becoming unresponsive. Like
Huh.
it's just, momentarily stuck in thought, if computers thought.
Huh, right. And the scenario they used to kick things off is just so relatable.
The frustration.
Yeah. Someone's computer has frozen 3 times in one day.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a
And
thing.
naturally, they immediately think, that's got to be a virus, right? And they ask for help. That feeling of like your own tech turning against you.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
can all connect with that. And so the expert in their dialogue, they run a virus scan,
Yeah.
and it reveals, quote, a lot of infected files. So a significant problem.
Okay, so the suspicion was right.
Yep. And it confirms that initial hunch, but also highlights something kind of crucial, maybe a bit unsettling. Well, the person in the chat mentions they're usually careful online, but they still got infected files, which really underscores that, even careful browsing isn't totally foolproof.
That's a bit scary, actually. So what was the advice then?
Well, here's where it gets really practical. The advice zeroes in on the likely culprit.
Okay.
The expert really stresses how vital it is to keep your antivirus software updated regularly.
Updated regularly. Okay, that seems standard, but
Well, in this specific case, it turns out the user's antivirus wasn't up to date,
okay.
and that's pinpointed as the probable reason the virus got through. It was a really stark reminder, antivirus protection is this constantly evolving thing.
Like it's only as good as its last update.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
only as strong as its most recent intelligence. Think about it. The people making viruses, they're always cooking up new ways to sneak past defenses.
Right.
So updated antivirus software is like, it's constantly learning about these new tricks, getting the latest intel, basically.
That's a good way to put it. Like a security briefing for your computer.
Precisely. And if you think bigger picture, it just shows that ongoing, arms race in cybersecurity, what worked yesterday might not work today.
Because there's a new threat.
Exactly. That constant evolution is why those updates are just non-negotiable, really.
Gotcha. And wasn't there some slightly funnier advice in there too?
Yes. The other bit was try not to kick or hit the computer.
I mean, who hasn't wanted to do that?
Right. It's obviously a bit lighthearted, but it really underlines how frustrated that person was in the first place.
Totally gets that across. Okay, so infected files. What exactly did they mean by that?
The video keeps it simple. It's just a file on your computer that has a virus kind of attached to it.
Like a carrier?
Yeah, exactly. It carries the harmful code into your system. Could be anything really, a document, an application. The virus is just hitching a ride.
Okay. And let's circle back to that not up-to-date software thing. How did they explain that?
Very clearly, actually. It just doesn't have all the most recent information.
Like having an old map.
Perfect analogy. The roads have changed. Maybe there are new danger zones, and your old map. It's useless, or worse, misleading.
So with antivirus, being out of date means it doesn't recognize the new viruses. It's blind to them.
Exactly. It lacks the signatures, the unique identifiers for the latest threats. So those new viruses can just waltz right in.
Understood. Now, the source was a language lesson, right? So there were other phrases.
Yeah, they touch on things like, I'll be right up. It turns out that useful for English learners, for sure.
But not really our focus for this virus deep dive.
Not primarily, no. But there was that one fluency builder phrase, acting up.
Yeah, that feels relevant.
Totally. It's just such a natural, everyday way we talk about a computer when it's not working right.
That feeling that something's just off, even if you don't know what.
Exactly. That's acting up. Your digital buddy isn't quite itself.
And they shared another example of that, didn't they? Something about the computer turning on and off.
Yeah, turning on and then just shutting down again by itself.
Mhm.
The hosts in the video even flag that as, like, a potential red flag for a virus.
So it's those unpredictable, weird behaviors that make you think, uh-oh, virus.
Precisely, which, brings us right back to the core advice from the dialogue.
Run scans, keep the software updated.
Consistently run virus scans and make sure that antivirus software is meticulously up to date. Those are your absolute frontline defenses.
Regular checkups for digital health.
Yeah, and keeping the software updated is like making sure your immune system can handle the latest bugs going around.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down. The key takeaways from this deep dive based on that source.
All right. 1, viruses are bad news programs designed to cause harm.
Got it, 2.
An infected file is just a file carrying one of those viruses.
Simple enough.
3, and this is crucial, if your antivirus software isn't regularly updated, it's basically like having a security guard who doesn't recognize the new faces of criminals.
Okay, very clear. Outdated equals vulnerable.
Definitely. And finally, when your computer starts acting up, doing weird, unexpected things, don't ignore it. It could well be a sign of trouble, possibly a virus.
Right. Run those scans.
Which kind of raises a bigger question, doesn't it, for you listening?
Oh.
Well, think about how much of our lives are digital now. Work, friends, money, everything.
Yeah, it's huge.
So beyond just these computer viruses, what other kinds of unseen infections, maybe metaphorical ones, might we need to be watching out for in the future?
Wow, that's a heavy thought, like information viruses or trust issues online.
Could be anything, really. It just broadens the idea of digital security and awareness.
That is definitely something to chew on. Makes you think about the whole landscape.
For sure.
But in the meantime, maybe the immediate takeaway is just take a quick moment. Check your own digital defenses.
Good practical step.
Is your antivirus actually up to date? Like right now.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it could honestly save you a massive headache later.
Couldn't agree more. Basic digital hygiene.